All right. All right. What's going on? You listen to King Cam Ujumbe Podcast and Ujumbe means message. And yeah, we are in the building. We're about to unlock ancient Egyptian wisdom on King Cam Ujumbe Podcast. And I'm glad to be here. So we're going to get ready for a mind expanding conversation on the podcast. We're going to talk about a little bit of Egyptian history. We're going to talk about African spirituality, a little bit of hidden knowledge and with the renowned scholars of the Khemetic Nation. Yeah, we got in the building. We got Anupu in the building. We got Tehuti in the building. We got Suede Santro in the building. What's going on? I'm glad that you guys are here, and we're gonna talk. And these guys, get this: these guys together have written over 22 groundbreaking books. 22. I'm trying to get one. I'm trying to do one. But these guys have done 22 books. What's going on, Mo? I see Mo. And please hit the like button as you come in. Greetings, Brother Mo. He's one of the illustrious alumni, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, greetings, Brother Mo. But yeah, these guys wrote 22 books. Okay, these are experts. They're going to unveil some lost wisdom, decode ancient texts, and reveal some true legacy of African civilization. And guess what? We're going to talk about what Maat means. We're going to talk about the connection between the Moors and ancient Egypt. Yeah, I've been waiting on this one. I've been holding that one in my back pocket. We're going to talk about the Moors and ancient Egypt and how time and culture and African history intertwine and some more insight. So, but I'm glad you guys are here. Don't forget to greet the family as you guys are coming in. And we're going to get down to the business. Let's get to this information. So, but welcome. All right. So we are unlocking Khemetic wisdom, and we're gonna talk to the Khemetic Nation. So before we get to this question, what is the science of Ma'at? Okay. Before we get into the science of Ma'at, tell us about yourself. We can gotta go through one person at a time. I think Anupu, tell us about you. Tell us about you. We go from Anupu to Tahuti and then Suede.
Okay, sounds good. Hotep, everybody. Um, as he said, my name is I'm Anupu Hotep. I'm the father of 9,
Wow.
leader of Zone 8 of the Khemetic Nation. That's the West Coast region of California, Washington area, Oregon. We're
Okay.
separated into um, regions, and we control separate regions. Um, I'm the author of 5 children books. I'm a helper of the Book of Maat,
Okay.
a full-time day trader. I manage investments for the Khemetic Nation. Also, a data scientist. We build websites, mobile apps, IoT technology, and program video games. We have a lot of video games on the way as well.
Hmm.
And I also serve as a celebrity death duel, um, and we do doulas for guiding sacred transitions for people in times of need of the dark times, gate traveling and things
Mhm.
of that nature. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Cam.
Okay. All right. All right. Brother Tahuti, what's going on?
I am Tehuti Sakem Tawi. Just call me Tehuti. Um, I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been in this field of study since I want to say 1988. I've been studying chemetaphysics, is what I like to call it.
Okay.
Uh,
Metaphysics.
chemetaphysics, yes,
Okay.
sir. Um, I helped write one book, and I'm in the midst of writing my own book, the Sacred Marriage
Okay.
between Tehuti and Maat.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
I'm the father of 2. Both my children are grown now, which is a great thing. They don't leave your pockets though. They don't leave
Right.
your pockets.
Right.
They leave
So
the nest, but they don't leave your pockets.
I'm
But
telling you.
no, seriously. Yeah. No, seriously though. I'm just excited to be here, man. Thank you very much for the invite.
Yeah, man. And Suede.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's good. My name's Suede Santro, author of 9 books, the leader of Zone 1 of the Khemetic Nation. I work in the arts and design department here for the Khemetic Nation. Currently, we have our Khemetic Aboriginal Science Lodge that I started up, which is pretty much a pretty much a library that we pretty much set up for everyone that teaches indigenous science, not only here in America but worldwide. We've currently, within the past year and a half, 2 years now, we've been focusing heavy here in America on ancient Mayan science. Later on this year, pretty much going towards the summer, and later on this year, we're going to be going more towards the Melanesian, Polynesian islands in Australia. We pretty much wrapped up everything when it comes to America, Africa, South Asia. So we're going to pretty much wrap up the world by the end of the year, and this is off of 10 years of study collectively together. So we're currently, like you said, we had 22 books. We're going to have 24 by the end of the year, because I'm currently working on 2 more right now at the same time. The Hidden Space of Christianity, Volume 2, Lapis Lazuli Tablets, and another book called Native Women of the Mound. We'll have both of those out towards the fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, but my question, dealing with day trading, 9 children. One brother has 9 children. Other one has 2. How do you guys have time to write 22 and almost 24 books? How do you have time to write those?
Well, collaboration. Yeah. We collab a lot.
Most definitely. We like I said, we have 22. Like I said, Anupu, he did a tremendous job when we first started putting books out, to make sure that we had children's books in abundance. Have more, like I said, we're going to have more out by the end of this year, beginning of next year. It's just a nonstop, continuous effort from us as a collective. We only got 24 hours in a day, but it seems like with my work ethic, I didn't think that I was going to be able to link up with other people that would work also, but I really was blessed to meet these gentlemen and the rest of our teachers that we have, because they've got the same focus that I have.
Okay, so did you guys ever want to be authors, or did you guys ever want to do that?
I knew that I was going to be doing something of the sort when it came to the pen and the paper, whether it be art, whether it be music, whether it be books, but I didn't know that I was going to get this deep into the realm that I'm in now. This is pretty much roughly about 11 to 10 years in the making. Me putting my first book out, but it was a different transition for me because I didn't know if I could do it.
Wow.
More or less because of the discipline and focus that it takes just for actually putting together a project like that. Right. I didn't know if I would be able to put it out the way that people would expect, but once I finally did it, it kind of became an addiction to me, as you can see now.
Yeah.
I figured I was like, you know what, maybe this is my lane right here. And I didn't. I put a little bit too much pressure and too much expectation on myself. So after the first one came out, that's when I was pretty much comfortable with everything. As I ended up locking in, and we put out 4 books in 1 month.
Wow. 4? Wait a minute. 4 books in 1 month?
Yeah. Wow. My first 4 books.
Yeah.
Did them in a month. The first 3 I did myself, and then the second one is what we did as a collective, me, Anupu, and the 10 Questions for an Egyptian book. But yeah, we did 4 books in a month. And then right after that is when we started putting out the children's books. So it was really just a perfect timing with everything.
Yeah, we can't leave the young people out. We can't leave the children out. See?
Well, I mean, that's our focus, Cam. That's our focus. Honestly, I say since 2019, 2020,
Hmm.
right before COVID hit. That was our focus as a collective, that we said we have to make sure that we focus on the youth more than anything else. So that's why we work the way we do, because that is the main focus, is to make sure the children have their stability and their balance.
So when it come down to the publishing process, did you guys do the traditional route or the self-publishing route?
Everything we have since 2000, what's that, Book of Maat was republished in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
We've done ourselves and did the self-publishing route through Amazon, having great promotion both here in America and overseas, because we have our books now in South Africa, West
Wow.
Africa, London, the UK. So it's going the Amazon route for publishing and marketing purposes was just perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very cost effective as well.
Oh, okay. So you guys figure, okay, since Amazon is a pretty good at distribution, might as well just go on and do it like that, right?
Yeah, not only distribution, their marketing system, and then their expansion method is amazing, because you have to think, Amazon started, I'm pretty sure everybody knows the story, is they started as a book publisher, or a book store selling books, and that's how they started destroying Barnes and Nobles, right?
Yeah.
So you got to figure, if we pay Amazon $10,000 on advertisement, most people that read books are already there. It's going to go to where it needs to go without you having to stress on what lanes you should take,
Yeah.
And then you could turn around and make audio books directly off of Amazon as well. So it's a win-win situation over there on Amazon. It's very cost effective. You don't have to hire an agent. You don't have to do anything. You can just literally do it yourself, and there's no middleman. There's nobody in your pocket.
Yeah. So here it is. Here we go. Now, first of all, what is Maat? Okay, what is Maat? And then we'll go into the next question. But first, what is Maat, y'all? What is that?
Maat is the sacred law. It is the law that governs the omniverse, if you will. These set precepts: truth, justice, reciprocity, balance, harmony, order, law, and then love. See what I'm saying? And how they influence the fabric of what we call reality is truth.
Okay.
Everything is about truth. There's truth in the bee creating the honey. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a balance between the bee and our dinner plate.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Because without the bee, you won't have no plants. Without the plants, you don't have no food. If you eat meat, you won't have no meat.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
And the fam chiming in, little God said Ma'at, or Ma'at is comprised of ancient Egyptian concepts of truth, balance, order, harmony, law, morality, and justice. And by the way, y'all, you guys can talk back to us. It's all right. So it's all good. We really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't. But yeah, we're gonna get in on this conversation. So somebody got an A for the day already for class participation. But yeah. All right. So that's little God. That's her response. All right. So what is my? You said truth. Okay. Balance, order. Okay.
Truth, justice, reciprocity. And this is my contention. To have justice, you have to tell the truth first. Can't have justice if there's no truth. If there's no justice, you cannot have reciprocity. If there's no reciprocity, there's no balance, harmony, or order. So before you can get to the law and love, you got to have the truth.
Right.
And the most important thing is to tell yourself the truth.
Yeah.
You can't lie to yourself. You can lie to everybody else in the world, but you can't lie to yourself. That'll drive you insane.
Man.
Self-delusion.
Yeah. I heard somebody say
Self-delusion
go against
is the bane of our societies right now.
self-delusion is what?
The bane of our societies right
Wow.
now. People refuse to tell themselves the truth.
Right. Knowing you strong in the face, and you're gonna say you look good. Hey man, look.
Body positivity or something. You know.
You're right. Don't do that.
You
Don't
live
do
the
that.
big back life talking about I'm fine. Something like that.
Man, because that's not you're not being truthful. You're not being truthful.
Not being truthful. And you won't receive justice.
Yeah.
Justice takes many different forms. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a legal term.
Right.
To have a just life and fruitful life is comes through the act of justice.
Yeah.
And Maat is a verb. Maat is something you do. It's not just a concept that you think about. These are things you have to do. Yeah. You have to be truthful. You have to tell the truth. What your grandma used to say, tell truth, shame the devil?
Shame the devil. But now, speaking of being truthful, Brother Mo had a question. Brother Mo said, what happens when that balance is broken like it is now in our society? In the U.S., a lot of our leaders refuse to tell the truth. What happens? No balance. When there's no balance. I think there's an Egyptian word for it, but when it's not balanced.
It's called isfit.
Isfit.
Yes, Proverbs in the book of Maat, page 69. If the God of light is angry with the country, law, justice, and value breaks down, and fools take the place of wise men.
So when there's no balance, you're not balanced. This dealing with anything. It's too much sugar, you're gonna have diabetes. Too much salt, you have high blood pressure. Out of balance.
Out of balance.
Yeah. And so
our fools taking place of the nation right now. That's how you know if Maat is here or not. That's how you can tell.
So how does it go? How does Maat go beyond a moral code and influence to life? Because it's one thing to have it on paper. But how can that be done for my day to day? How can that be done?
Once again, I mean, it takes action. You have to implement it into your life or your habits. How Dr. Claude Anderson says it, correct behavior. You know what I'm saying?
Real simple.
Real simple. Correct behavior.
Yeah.
You have to follow the precepts to the letter. I mean, it's a work that you have to do. But you have to do the work to see the results. You can't just put dirt out there, no seeds, and then expect plants. It's not how that works.
Yeah.
You got to plant the seed.
And in this world today, it's easy to be around the normal society and blend in and start behaving like them, right? So that's why we're always separated a lot, and we do the work within our own team and our own nation, right? So in our nation, we don't have to fake for society. We're able to be us more, in the hours or, than most people, because most people have to intertwine and negotiate with, people that are not within Maat. So that becomes them more so. We're us 98% of the time and 2% in the public. We're having to adapt there in order to retain our regular lifestyle. So, in the Discord where we are and where we are online in our network, we're able to be us a lot longer. And that's how you stay in Maat much easier. It's harder to be in Maat when you're dealing with the public 24/7 that don't think or act or behave like you. So that's why we're in the nation. And that's really the power of the nation. You're able to be you and unlock your true powers and be who you want to be and who you always wanted to be.
Yeah. And so little guy is chiming in again. I think she's trying to get an A+. Isfet. it meaning injustice, chaos, or violence as a verb to do evil, is an ancient Egyptian term from Egyptian mythology used in philosophy, which was built on a religious. I guess it kind of faded out there, but yeah, don't forget to hit the like button as you come in, though. And New Star, shout out to New Star. Shout out, he said, shout out to Khemetic Nation, Brother
Shout out to
Joseph. Yeah, and Brother Ferguson said self delusion is definitely our thorn today. Self delusion, man. Yeah, that's where we are. We're kind of in that mode, but now, so we're gonna so in who's when it comes to rewriting history, before we get into the Moors real quick, before we get into the Moors, when rewriting history, the contributions of African civilization sometimes get downplayed a little bit or even erased, right? So what are some of the most
a little bit.
A lot of it.
Yes, sir.
Man, so what are some of the most significant misconceptions about ancient Egypt, ancient Africa you guys aim to correct?
That the science that we have is a lot older than what people perceive it to be and give the credit for it to be. Unfortunately, in this era time we're in now, we have certain people with certain power in Egyptology that are pretty much the
gatekeepers.
They're pretty much the creators of this entire indigenous erasure when it comes to the continent of Africa. And we've seen so many articles and so many reports of them, destroying artifacts, lightening the skin, on the walls, etc. So it's a collective effort of people who had to cling on to a history to have a illusion of a history,
right? And then say they know black. I'm like, bro,
exactly. It's a collective effort on that side, unfortunately. But now
it's bad.
We've got so much we've got so much information, and so much left on the wall, so much left there that nobody at this point, I don't really feel that anybody can really question the continuity, the actual power of Kemet, because now we found I guess you could say the political term of sub-Saharan African.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, I'm about to say not only is that we'll get into that later, but now we found that what they call a sub-Saharan African. This is one of the oldest skeletons that we have in Egypt now.
Yeah,
I'll say about 30,000 to 50,000 BCE.
30,000 to what?
50,000 BCE, and labeled as a sub-Saharan African.
Wow. Because a lot of these individuals, they would be upset when we say, no, you telling me King Tut's mama, granny, look like this, and this boy looking light-skinned like that.
Right.
We pulled certain information just within the past 6 to 7 months of newly updated information, saying that all of these people in the oldest royal tombs that they had in Kemet, they came from the south, and I'm talking about below Ethiopia.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because we come from the Congo Basin.
From where? From Congo?
The Congo Basin.
Man, say. Because what happens is they would dig up some random person from the Mediterranean and who so happened to die in Egypt and say that's an Egyptian. You're not doing the work like you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to look up the genetics of the royalty, and we know that's totally different. We know that's totally different. We're gonna get into the.
We've been teaching within the past year and a half now, 2 years, about the actual oldest royal tombs that they found in Egypt, and that's what they call the Madarian culture. It was going back around 4,000 to 4,400 BCE. the oldest royal tombs that they found in Egypt, and they said that all of these people come from the south.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that there a lot of them are upset because we did listen to Dr. Ben, or we did listen to Check Into Joe, and we listened to those scholars and Dr. John Henry Clark and say, hey, Egypt came from the south. It came from Nubia. It came from Ethiopia, even further south. And so you can't separate Egypt from Africa, and you can't say that Egypt is not an African nation. And so that is the issue. But my thing is, what can we do to push that forward? What can we do to push that information forward? You guys are writing books, so that's one thing for sure.
So, I mean, yeah, that's one thing. We have to attack all forms of medium, whether it be written, like we're doing now with the YouTube game.
Yeah.
You know, we just have to correct a lot of inconsistencies that have been put forth, you know, and in that correction, we have to make sure that we put forth the right information. You know what I mean? We have to dispel the spell that has been cast.
Wow. Dispel, wait a minute. What did you say? Dispel the spell that has been what?
Cast.
Wow. And so,
Yes,
speaking of that, Brother Suede, this book, The More You Know, the spell different.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I want to know about this.
More You Know, this is the last book I released. This is my 9th book that we did. I took about 8.5 months to put this one book together. I tell when we have class and when we just have just our regular side classes and whatnot on our Discord, I tell people that, you know, this book right here, this is pretty much this was kind of the completion of the series of just the amount of information that we had in it, because now the entire the entire misconception and all of the gray area of what the Moors did and who the Moors are, you know, all of those questions were answered in one book plus some more. So we spent a little more time on this one because we knew we had to fill in all gaps, and we knew that we had to answer all questions. With what we have left over from this book and from the response that we got from it, it's a good possibility we might do a volume 2 to this book as well.
Might do a volume 2?
Yeah, that's the way it's looking right now. We might have a volume 2 to this one coming.
Okay.
We did very specific, very specific emphasis on the Mediterranean basin. As far as Spain, Italy, and Greece is concerned,
right?
Showing the actual migration of the Moors and what they contributed to so-called Europe. We put but not only along with, you know, 7-11 going up, but we did the entire landscape of ancient Europe as a whole to get to Moors in this book right here. So it's literally not really just a regular book. It's more or less a study guide for everybody with the amount of information we have in this one.
Really quick, little God has chimed in and said, if the God of light is angry with the country, law, justice, and values break down and fools take the place of wise men. That's something.
That's deep.
You're right. Let that sit. Fools take the place of wise men. Yeah, I heard somebody else say democracy gets what democracy deserves. I heard that one too.
Yeah, I mean, the whole concept of democracy itself is that's a funny thing to be dealing with. We ruled under republics. We never had a democracy. We had Republican forms of governance, not governments. We weren't into mind control in that way. We had governance. To govern means to control. Ment means mind. So we had different ways of viewing things. We had governance, but we would never enter trying to influence others' minds. This is why we would expel people instead of just outright slaughtering them.
Right. So, and then goes on to say prestige, commanding position in people's minds. But get this, I got a question though. Now, the Moors, what is the connection? Because you mentioned, because Brother Suede, you mentioned the Moors connecting to Europe, right? Going westward. But now, what is the connection between the Moors and Kemet?
Well, a great chunk of the Moors actually are some of the original people that migrated out of Kemet once they had their last invasion, 638 AD. So a lot of these people that were in Kem, like I said, left north, left south. They went into Libya, Morocco. They went to Niger. Some of them ended up in Sierra Leone. Some of them ended up in Mali and Cameroon. But the science, as far as the medicines,
right,
the soap, the alcohol, et cetera, this is all the alchemy from out of Kemet.
Alchemy coming out of Kemet.
Yes, sir.
Man, yes, sir. I learn something new every day. This is the first time I'm hearing that. I heard about alchemy, y'all. I heard about that. I'm not that far gone. Yet I may be country as corn, but I'm not. But I'm not that gone.
Well, I mean, the oldest soap that they have, documented in Europe only goes back to the year 1370. We're an indigenous people, so we're an indigenous people to where we wash 3-4 times a day in the now. We do the same thing over here in America in ancient time. We wash 3-4 times a day in the Mississippi River. So that's just our regular way of life. So having certain alchemy to make soap, to have alcohol, to have perfume, to have any type of ointment, medicine. This is all coming out of Kem from the Ebers Papyri, 1550 BCE, which is the oldest medical record we can find.
Wow,
coming out of Egypt.
And the term alchemy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The papyri is coming from 1550
BCE.
1550 BCE. And I'm sorry, Tehuti.
The term alchemy is Arabic for the way of Kem.
Yes, it is.
So any alchemical process that you're dealing with things that came from Kemet directly.
Wow.
That the Moors brought with them to Europe.
Okay.
To Spain and Portugal and places like that.
So we have a question. Lady Passion says, aren't the Moors Phoenicians?
Well, coming from the master teacher Baba Kaba, the Phoenicians, they originated in Ethiopia and migrated into the Middle East.
Okay.
Some of the original culture that we can find, going back to Hannibal Barca's time in North Africa and in the Mediterranean, you are going to find Phoenician. There's a certain connection there because there was just an entire umbrella on the northern region and that part of the what we call the Middle East since Islam had become so powerful. That pretty much everyone was trading with each other in the same circles and having the same lingua franca, as far as the same common language for trade and for business. So yeah, there is a connection there with the Moors and Phoenicians, definitely.
Okay. Because I remember the Ethiopia did go eastward also across Yemen and so on. So it would make some sense that they did impact the Phoenicians also. Little Goddess says the Ebers Papyrus, dating back to approximately 1550 before Common Era, is one of the oldest preserved medical documents. It is a 110-page scroll, about 20 meters long, written in hieratic Egyptian script. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Nature. Yeah.
Yeah, the Medu nature, and we've been trying to do that on the show. We've been trying to break a little bit of it down a little bit with the Medu nature. I can't. We about to do one. Y'all get ready. We're gonna do one. We're gonna do one. We can't get the whole wall going, but we're gonna get one in. We're gonna get one in. And so Haas, shout out to Haas TV. The amount of compiled evidence via literature and research and documentation. This includes the purchase and procurement of rare research text. Yeah. So brother Suede is saying that the Moors came out of Kemet, and of course we concluded that Kemet came out of the south, came from Ethiopia. Yeah. So that's really cool. And so what about this book? What about this book? The Southern Roots of Time.
Oh man, this is
Yeah.
yeah. This is my third book that I released. This is one of my personal favorites here because this book here is more or less on my bloodline.
Okay.
The cover of the book is an actual Gullah Geechee ceremony on the Low Country in South Carolina. This is an overview of the ancient Mayan migration into the South with certain tribes such as the Yamasee, the Seminole, the Choctaw, the Cherokee, whatnot. It's a compilation of pretty much everybody within the South and the Southeast region, from ancient time into modern time, showing exactly who these people are, the language separation, the language similarities, pretty much everything compiled in that one book right there. It's one of my favorites. This one, like I said, I had to go ahead and put this one out on a personal level.
It does sound personal. It does sound personal.
To clear up, because we're gonna go in a little bit more on the Native Women of the Mound book, but to clear up, like I said, the actual lineage of who we are as Gullah people here in America, because a lot of misconceptions of who we are and where we came from, and this, that, and the third. So I had to go ahead and put this one out just for family.
I don't know. When I saw the title, "The Southern Roots of Time," I thought about CP time. We focus more on events.
Yeah.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, this is pretty much our first book highlighting indigenous culture here in America fully. This was the one right here.
Okay. So before we get into this, Khemetic knowledge, of course, the Medu nature is spelled Medu. Netr means divine words or divine writing in ancient Egyptian, referring to the sacred hieroglyphic writing system used extensively in temples, monuments, and tombs. Before we get into Khemetic knowledge, though, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the like button. I really appreciate that because I got a question. I like to ask questions. I'm a very inquisitive person. I got a question. All right. Now, what is the best way to experience a story? Anybody can chime in. Book or a movie?
I would say the book personally.
Okay.
You get more personal with the book than you do the movie.
Okay. What do y'all say, people? Book or movie? Y'all can comment that. Book or movie? What do you say?
I say book also. The book allows you to explore your concepts within your own head instead of an image being presented to you. Yeah. You get to present the image yourself. And this is where you get most of your information from,
Okay.
That's why I say the book.
I like the book because you're able to critically analyze something. But I think once you read the book, that's why people always say when they see the movie, they say the book is better. Because you get to use your own imagination. You get to use your own thought. And sometimes you put yourself in that story. Yeah. So appreciate that. Now, here we go. We're about to get into some Khemetic knowledge. Shout out to the fam. We talked about the Jed a few weeks ago. A little bit of it. All right, so that topic regarding symbols representing everlasting or genetics are everlasting, still digging up artifacts today. And as science advances, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read that. As science advances, so does DNA of those many ancient bones in Egypt. Okay. Shout out to Ali. What do you guys think? Because we're about to get into this thing called the Jed. Okay. What is the science of the Jed? What is that? I told you we're going to get into some hieroglyphics. The Jed. What is that?
The Jed pillar is a battery.
Mhm.
It's more like a Duracell. You know, you plug it up into different devices and such things like that. And to operate it, as you see from the pictures or
Mhm.
the depictions, you see that they're throwing a switch. That's what the staff is for.
So the Jed
See
is a
what I'm saying?
battery?
Yeah, it's a battery.
Wow.
It's a battery.
I thought it was just
Basic.
symbol. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
not,
sir.
not
No,
not
sir.
in the metaphorical way of being a battery either. Really, well, I
Mhm.
mean, you can put it that way, but an actual battery. And he's
It's an
saying
actual battery.
physical battery.
Wow.
We used to
Wow.
power our forms of lights like the shin
Mm-hmm.
or the shim.
Yeah.
And we would connect it to the jet and then walk around with the shim at night.
And now
See what I'm saying?
I read that in the book many years ago. I think it was I forgot his name, Mr. Ankh, about they was able to write in how was you able to write this information in the dark? They had some source of power. And so you guys telling me the Jed is a battery
It's a
or a
battery.
generator.
Mhm.
It's a
Wow.
battery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
So it's
sir.
more than
And
just symbolic of establishment. It's power.
it's power.
Hmm. Wow. Well, you guys heard it.
Actually, Jed means stability.
Yeah. Stability.
Brother Tahuti,
Was means power. Yes, sir.
you could see the picture
Yes, sir.
right here, right? Can you
Uh-huh.
break down exactly what Ptah is holding right there?
He's holding the WAS staff or the staff that you would plug into the battery to
Hmm.
throw the switch.
So Ptah, he's for those who are watching, Ptah is on the left right here. He has a blue skull cap on, and the jet is behind him, and in his hand, Tahuti is saying that is some instruments they able to use to throw a switch.
To throw the switch.
Right.
Wow.
That's actually literally a pole conducting energy, and then the battery. You can see the DJet on top of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
circulating and controlling energy. It's holding the energy up top, and then on the bottom, it's like a fork type situation where you can plug it
Mm-hmm.
into a machine literally and utilize it that way, or ground yourself at the same time. And if you look at what he's standing on, he's protecting itself
Hmm.
from electric shock. And behind him, that big DJ behind him is actually powering the system. He's
Wow.
literally in a system controlling electronic technology. It's
Wow.
actually happening
So
there.
Ptah is basically in a generator, right?
Correct. It's
Basically.
Yes, sir.
and anytime you look, the Ankh is on top. The Ankh is an electromagnetic powered engine on top of
Mm.
the system. Okay, so
Wow.
this is literally called Unkwas Dejed, means the giver of life, or um,
Life,
what is
power,
it?
stability.
Yeah, right. And this actually can bring life. For
Hmm.
instance, if you pass out and your heart stops, what is the thing that the doctor puts on your heart?
Yeah. Electric shock, like a.
Electric shock.
Mm-hmm.
So we know for a fact electric shock brings life. That's guaranteed. Okay. And it's funny how that Ankh on top is considered or called the breath of life as
Hmm.
well. And you can see the electro radiation pulses in the pictures. They draw like a couple of little lines when they're saying somebody's getting the breath of life directly off the Ankh, because the Ankh
Mm.
is an electromagnetic powered engine, and it brings life to you, and you can live a lot longer with it. It can reverse cellular damage. It can do a lot And yeah, we could go on forever with that, but it's literally a medical tool.
And so I've seen some images where they have the ankh on somebody's lips.
Definitely
Mm.
bringing them back to life, either
Mm.
here or the afterworld or the underworld or whatever you like to call it.
Right.
Through the duat, through the journey
Mm.
that way. It's
Mm.
a symbolic system that way. When they lost the technology, but when they found the technology, like when they did again in Akhenaten's time, they actually literally used this energy and system to um, make people literally live forever. You
Mm.
can really do that in real life. It's possible.
And what was that in Patah's hand? What is this called again?
That is the wasp staff.
The Wa staff. And I think
Mhm.
Ali, shout out to Ali, he says the Wa staff sounds a lot like watt or wattage.
That
There
is
you go.
correct.
Correct.
That is
Mm.
correct. And according to Nur Ankh Amun, this is where they get a lot of their terminology from, like Voltaire and
Mm-hmm.
the other 164 scientists that Napoleon took to Kemet. This is where they get their turn of the century bump or
Mm.
boost, if you will.
Wow.
Yeah, and technology was using our technology
Yeah.
that was already there.
Because I'm still I don't have the picture here, but you know when King Tut was found, and it was a lot of Nubians was there, okay,
Mhm.
and I still have reason to believe the Nubians was the ones that was teaching him the knowledge. I think they was teaching Howard Carter what this means, what that means, and what this looked like. I really
Most
think,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
and to be clear, there's no difference between the Nubians and the ancient Kemites. There's zero,
Oh boy,
zero.
one more time for the one more time.
Yeah, to be
Look.
For the
clear.
people who are late to class. And I'm gonna check roll.
Yeah,
Anupu said what again? What did you say?
to be clear, there's no difference between the Sudanese
Uh-huh.
or Nubians, whatever you like to call them,
Mm-hmm.
and then ancient Kemites. And,
Yep.
and then to even stretch it further, because they like to invade our land, there's no difference between Kemites and ancient Greek. Let's go there.
Well,
Straight up.
Let's go there.
Straight up.
No
somebody
lies
finna be
detected.
mad. Somebody finna be mad, dog. They finna be mad, dog.
Mm.
You said everybody black.
There you go.
I mean, the ancient Minoans are the ones that created Greece. So ask them where the Minoans came from.
And because I think in Greek mythology, correct me if I'm wrong. I think one of the individuals, their I forgot the name. It's in the Clash of the Titans or something like that, and their father was from the Greek was from Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Zeus was originally painted as being heavily melanated, as was Apollo, as was Poseidon.
Mm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah.
So,
Melanin.
Great.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, and so was Alexander the Great.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Alexander the Greek. Yeah.
The original, the original depiction of him. Yeah. Heavily
Philip
swart.
of Macedonia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His father. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
These were melanated beings. These
Mhm.
were melanated people.
And
Wow.
then you can keep pushing east. You can go as far as Krishna, go as far as Buddha, the ancient Buddha. You can go as far as the ancient Japanese. You can go all the way into North America, South America,
Mm.
everywhere.
Because there's some early pictures of Buddha. And them they had the curly hair. They had that,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't snails, bro. They need to deal with that.
Yeah.
They need
So we actually released a book called The Philosophy of Siddhartha. We actually wrote a book on Buddha and showing the original depictions and the oldest depictions of him and the oldest culture and whatnot. It's everything in that book as well. But yeah, we pretty much did a full circle on that right there when it comes to Kemet because of the similarities in that culture there in the East with Kemet and Nubia. So yeah,
because they because that's last year I did the wonderful Ethiopians of the ancient Kushite Empire, and basically Ethiopian Kush touched everybody, and it was everywhere. And
That's
so
a
we can't write off the fact that Ethiopia they were just these people were isolated when they had civilizations over 20,000 years.
that's a fact, bro. That's a
That
fact.
is a fact.
We're finding their DNA everywhere, and we're going to have class tonight.
Yeah.
In a few hours, we finding the DNA literally everywhere on the planet right now.
Yeah, speaking of DNA, Ali said I was just looking at DNA, and some Edo people have EM38 haplogroup, and that's a Grecian haplogroup. And also the Hausa. There's a lot of people like the Hausa and Fulani. Their stories say they came from the Nile Valley.
Well, both the Hassa and the Fulani have the exact same DNA, and they both migrated out of northern and western Sudan just recently within the 13th and 14th century.
Wow, man! Look, this is to find out that Alexander the Great. They paint him a different color. I'm just saying they kind of paint him to look like this.
Oh, of course. But you have to. I mean, and that's we put proof and science, and we put the actual genetic and medical data in the Moor You Know of the timing and the actual science of white skin.
Right. So why is Kemetic knowledge and information, why is that suppressed? Why is that downplayed?
Well, because going back to what I was saying earlier, the suppression of everything, because everything we have is older than what people know. Just something as simple as when we talk about modern day science, when we talk about the sperm cell, I mean, they didn't have an actual image of a sperm cell image until the year 1677.
Wow.
But we have actual sperm cell science, the Temple of Luxor, or the deity Amun Min.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. See, I see you learn something new every day. See, that's what happens when I hang with intelligent individuals. So they're saying the image of the sperm cell is found in the Temple of Luxor.
Yes, sir. Like about 4,000 BCE, roundabout.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm in school
Yeah,
now.
before Luxor was even finished completely, it was actually part of the early build.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yep.
Wow. That's crazy because it's so much information that's looked over or left out.
Yeah.
They have tools to deal with hair, so they certainly have tools to deal with science, and they have tools to deal with time. Because the Temple of Luxor, when they built it, it wasn't just something pretty; it was actually a timepiece.
Mm-hmm.
It actually helped them tell time. And so we have the 12 hours a day and then 12 hours a night. And so that's when, of course, according to ancient tradition, that's when the Pharaoh does fight that battle at night and then rises again in daytime.
Mm-hmm. I mean, our science is a little bit deeper than what people can really imagine. Honestly, I mean, just something as simple as when we talk about Asar, what they call Osiris. I mean, his headdress alone. I mean, the what we call the bag around the heart, the pericardium, is the same as the headdress of Asar, and they call Asar the heart of the soul.
I didn't know that. The heart of the soul?
Yes, sir.
Heart of the soul. Yes, sir.
Wow. And so Brother Mo asked a question. He said, for the authors, have you all received any bad messages, mail information from other authors, for example, Egyptologists? They're not like us regarding the books and information you have put out.
All the time, man. Are you guys watching the Twitter?
Yeah, those
all the time.
Those detractors are the ones that are on Twitter. Well, how we all met was on Twitter. That's how we got together, because Anupu was going up against these PhD scholars, if you will.
Right.
That's what they call themselves. And I chimed in one day, and he invited me over, and we've been clicking since that was about 2016.
Yeah.
Wow. And the thing is, there's a lot of people that are loud, and unfortunately they're misinformed. or their racism is showing. I think let me see, King. Shout out to King Hercules. Uh, the mathematics that our ancestors knew goes far beyond what they have been telling us. Our ancestors knew what we call partial differential equations, four-dimensional mathematics, complex analysis.
This
Uh,
is true.
Yeah,
dealing with African customs and African, there's a metaphysics in everything.
so I go by the spirit name of Anpu. Um, Most people know it as Anubis,
Yeah.
correct? And the mathematical equation of any of these deities are literally anthropomorphized, or I don't want to try to speak over anybody's head or sound special. So what that means is if you say, okay, this particle is E43 and then times 73 plus 43 divided by 82 plus 43 is the sum, and you take that sum and then 95 and 75, repeat that back to me.
I can't.
Right. So, and I'm not saying that was a real equation, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying if you turn around and say, one day there was this god named Anubis,
Yeah.
and Anubis walked into a dark temple where there were dead souls, and he had dog ears. So he heard what other people couldn't hear, and he found the soul to be able to capture the proper souls and put them back in the bodies of the people in the cave. Repeat that back to me. You can, right?
And I've heard like dealing with the
You can,
creation story, like the Memphite creation story was broken down into chemical elements. I
right?
think I don't know if Baba Kaba mentioned that, or I think I heard him say that the creation story is like a massive chemistry breakdown.
Atar Sakar Asar, if you've never heard of him, he breaks it down in that way.
Right.
There's a lot of master teachers that teach that. The very fact that they were speaking on subatomic levels,
Wow.
not just the anatomy of the human body. They were speaking about the anatomy of this realm that we're in and other realms.
Wow. So, what steps can we do to well, uh, let me ask it this way. So, when it comes down to scholarship, I know you guys writing books and everything. What is the future of African scholarship? Because Dr. Ben was my man. Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark. What is the future of African, or more specifically, Kemetic and Nubian scholarship? What's the future of that?
So the future of African scholarship is it's basically multidimensional over a linear equation,
Right.
We're moving beyond theory. We're returning to cosmological science, to sacred economics,
Okay.
to spiritual technology, more so than how everything's just flat today. It's pretty boring in the world today when it comes to new technology, right?
Yeah.
Even AI needs to be able to get quantum in order to understand how we act, and then they can create fake holographic. You said future, so I could talk future. It's okay, right? So this is just theory. You guys don't say, hey, there's no data on this, right? So, but because we like to bring nothing but proof when we speak. But we're talking future, right? I can't give you data of future. All right.
Right.
So, when you speak like with holographs and holographic systems, you can shine lights basically like a baby projector and then show a person. And with Chat GPT, they're getting there, but you should be able to talk to Einstein in front of you, and you should be able to sit in your living room, right? And if he can sit in your living room and you can talk to him and ask him everything he knew, because his IQ and the whole large language model was simply built within Einstein, and it's his specific IQ. You can learn a lot easier from a holographic system. Okay, that would be that would be physical technology, how they have it today. If you understood the science of Anubis or
Mm-hmm.
like we spoke about, and you can actually capture a soul and you can speak to a soul, now we're back into spiritual technology.
There it
So
is.
instead of it being a holograph, which where they're going, we will be able to have a spiritual intertwining with a ancestor that knows all and speak to it just like it would be Chat GPT, and there would be no need to code it because you'll be pulling it out of the quantum, right? So that's one big system that we'll be able to utilize in when it comes to, and when we say African scholarship, I don't really like the word Africa. I mean, I love Africans, I love you all, but the thing is that's why we're Kim. You know, we have the birthmark of of the first people,
Right.
right? And we were scattered across this whole world. This whole world is yours. Don't subjugate yourself to a continent where they just told you, hey, you were too stupid to get on a boat and travel 10 miles east and find another island. Okay, because we populated the world.
Right.
Okay,
Facts.
right. So right, and then when you go look at the ancients, you know, he judges the Oannes judges. That's what it says in the spells of Oannes in the book of Maat. And it really means we're no longer waiting. We are becoming the authority, right? We're judging now. It's time for us to judge. It's not time for us to be judged and try to prove ourselves. It's time for us to start doing the judging, right? Our scholars of the future will merge ancient wisdom with AI, engineering, and cosmology, language with vibration, okay? And we're reclaiming authorship of the narrative. And designing our new platforms. I'm actually building a system that's handling this VR type of situation right now for hands-on learning, and we're going to be creating systems to serve our people. So we're thinking about everybody as a whole because that's what a good marketing person does. But you also have to make sure that everybody puts the the needed first, right? Yeah.
Because they've been, I think they, if I can go into speculation, they have been alluding to this kind of fact dealing with genetics, because I think Ali mentioned DNA evidence for the future. They've suppressed that. Okay.
Yeah.
And King Hercules is saying we have to get back to doing science the way our ancestors did. White people call it pseudoscience because they can't do what we do. And
Right.
the reality is they've been touching on it. One of my, I know you guys may think differently, but one of my movies I used to like watching growing up was Stargate,
Oh man.
and it started
Yeah,
right.
that's
And
an
then
extremely deep movie.
right, and
Yeah, I like that one too.
Stargate, and then the next one is one of my favorite video games. My son would laugh at me. I would play this game all day, every day. Assassin's Creed,
Okay.
because that deals with genetic memory. It deals with you already coming in with all this wealth of information, and so
the Stargate took the actual gate from the Temple of Dendra of the ceiling of the cosmological star map, right? And
yeah.
then if you look at that star map, and then you go look at Elon Musk's jet system, it's the same system as well.
Wow.
And I posted it after he posted, and then he didn't really say too much. All he said on his next post was love to the creators.
And so my thing, and then think about that. Not only the Temple of Dendera, the Europeans or the Europeans would call like the door that is by an Egyptian coffin, like the little line that's in the door. What they call it, a false door. I said, "No, bro, it wasn't for you."
Facts.
It wasn't that door. They call it a false door to fool the grave robbers. No, bro, no, that wasn't for that.
Yeah,
Wasn't for that.
that's a Maat door. That's that door was built for people that can go through the holy of the holies. You travel through that door, and then there's a small baby door in the middle of the temple where you can actually enter through and speak to the ancestors. This was actually a channel a channeling system where the ancestors vibrated through, and we can vibrate through the other way once we channel with them.
Man, say that
Holy of the holies. Yeah.
because I know that the Temple of Luxor is as you, if you look at it, it looks like the body of a person.
It is.
Yeah. With their mathematical breakdown of their
mathematical breakdown. Yes, sir.
There's always some math involved. I'm a history major. That math don't be mathing for me.
Yeah.
But history is mathematics, though. I mean, it's not separated. You can't separate the two.
Now I feel good.
Yes, sir. There you go.
But the thing is, it's all connected basically, and so that we have to really get into that one. You know, we may not have any time today to do it, but Anupu is describing channeling the from the Akashic records. That's interesting, and Ali said Elon's system ain't doing nothing. He don't got the bloodline, so they may have the information, but that melanin is lacking.
Let me tell you,
technology world. You know that's what we were talking about. The difference between, you know, our science and our sacred economics and our spiritual technology versus their holographic system. So you're absolutely right, Ali.
Yeah, Ali is absolutely right, because they cannot. It's like this. They refract light very differently from how we reflect light. See what I'm saying? How we interact with light or the sun is extremely different from how they do it, because they lack. As a matter of fact, OCA2 type 2 albinism is a mutation. It's not an adaptation.
Facts.
It's a mutation. And because it's a mutated gene, it's receiving the information from the sun backwards, if you will.
Right.
Upside down mathematics.
Yeah.
This is why they can't recreate any of the things that we use to build our temples.
Wow.
Our pernechas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or what they call pyramids. And this is on a global scale, because the pyramids are not just in Kemet.
Right.
They're all over the world.
Wow.
We were doing this everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. We were everywhere with this information.
I heard there was some pyramids in North America.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, most definitely.
Oh, King Cam. Oh, sir.
Here we go. Here we go. Now we're about to touch on it. Now we're finna go there.
King Cam. Oh, sir. We got it's documented.
Yeah.
Oh man. Almost fell out the chair. Almost fell out the chair.
Jump out the gun line, boss.
Almost
jump out the gun line.
I guess we'll do this another time.
Oh no! Well, no, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, it's fine. We can do it in 5 minutes, or we can do it in an hour.
Oh man,
we got a lot of information. I promise you. Now we got bro's not. He's not lying or exaggerating at all, bro. We got the oldest actual pyramid structures we have are here in America, bro. But we got information now. This is what we got over the past year, that the same mathematics and calendar is used by the ancient Mayans and the Egyptians, and they also use the same cement alchemy.
Limestone.
And Brother Mo, he said the pyramids here are never talked about enough.
I don't know. A lot were destroyed. A lot were destroyed, and when Columbus sailed into the Caribbean, we already had a document of over 1 million mounds and pyramids here in America.
Wow!
When he got here, there's over 1,000 that's undocumented. This in Brazil alone right now. So
I'm gonna give you the example of the destruction. All right, you know all of those old cobblestone roads.
Yeah,
those bricks were made out of our mounds and pyramids here in North America.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So they just reuse stuff because they didn't have the ingenuity to make bricks themselves. They just
the difference between having melanin, having failed melanin, and having melanin.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
So, and then King Hercules, it said, Deep never thought of them receiving info backwards from the sun. That was new to me also, King Hercules. That explains Mademba Ani's work, Yurungu.
Yorugu. Yeah.
Yuruku. Okay. But by them receiving information backwards from the sun, it says a lot. It says a lot. It says a lot. And then they, Ali says they're over there telling you the sun is going to kill you because it's dangerous, but the people in the islands bathe in it, trying to weaken us. It's just my thought.
We have a mathematical equation showing that, and we'll have Cam posted on his Twitter. So you guys make sure you're on Cam's Twitter. I'll send him the mathematical equation, and he'll post a picture of it so you guys can get that information about sun energy receiving and sending.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, so before we go, what is your message to the world? What is your message to the world?
I keep it clean and dry. Read as much as you can.
Okay.
I'll keep it cut and dry. Watch your mouth.
All right.
Watch what you say.
Yeah. Watch your conduct.
Mine is remember who you are.
Wow. All right, you guys, it's the King Cam Ujumbe Podcast. Ujumbe means message. And we just got through talking about unlocking Khemetic wisdom. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And we will talk to you guys later.
Peace and love.